Do you remember when the Spice Girls galloped onto our TVs and demanded, "Tell me what you want, what you really, really want"? I found that to be quite a difficult moment. They seemed to be suggesting that we would know what we want, what we really, really want. But it never seems to be quite that simple. We more often find ourselves unsure about what we want, and what we want seems to change very quickly. And even when we get what we want, we often decide we didn't really want it anymore. And it's not as amazing as we thought it was going to be. And that change of heart can apply to anything: new jobs, new car, even relationships. Once the novelty goes, the desire to have that thing seems to lose its appeal, and we soon fixate on the next thing that we really, really want. It's actually the same with feelings. So even if they'd asked, "Tell me how you feel, how you really, really feel," I'd have been equally confused, because I'd have to explain to them that, well, I often have very conflicted feelings. I can feel pretty lost and upset one minute, then laughing the next. I can get really stressed over simple things, but I've coped with some horrible and painful situations. In fact, if the Spice Girls wanted to get into a really heavy psychological conversation about this, I'd also have to tell them that, well, sometimes it's even difficult to know who we really are. We can see the sort of person we would like to be, or the lifestyle we would like to be living, but then we compare that imaginary perfect version of ourselves against the confused reality of how we actually live, and maybe feel quite disheartened that we're nothing like the sort of person we think we could be. Some of us might even criticise and resent ourselves for being such a poor comparison to that fantasy version of ourselves. Now, presumably, the Spice Girls would be trying to distance themselves from me at this point in the conversation, and probably regretting ever asking me what I really want. But you're still here, so maybe we could wonder, why do we struggle to know what we want, how we feel, what we think, where we're trying to get to, or even sometimes who we really are? The answer lives inside our head. When we spoke in the last video about how evolution has given us 3 brains rolled into one, those first 2 brains, our furry lizard ancestor brain and the 8th brain that we grew that into, are what we could call old brain. Our human brain welded onto that, we can call new brain. Old brain and new brain sometimes don't get along too well, because old brain usually wants something very different from new brain. I guess the best way to see what old brain is up to all the time is to think about all those David Attenborough documentaries that you'll have seen. When he's sitting in a forest with a troop of monkeys, they are basically us without the new brain layer on top. So their lifestyle seems to revolve around food, sex, lying about, sleep, scratching themselves, scratching each other, and threatening to rip the face of anything that threatens to take their food, their family, or their tree. It's pretty basic. The role of old brain is to make sure our most basic needs are taken care of. So these are food, find a mate, reproduce, find a tribe, and try to get as high up the hierarchy of that tribe as you possibly can, and stay alive. The next video takes a magnifying glass to look at old brain more closely and explain how much of our stress actually comes from here.